All right. Welcome back. Another stream. Doing some more Saint. Some more regular speedruns. I found out that, at least on speedrun.com for now, the story category for the Saint, it requires ascending both iterators. And so, I guess this is the true ending route, technically. I guess I would prefer to not do that. But I kind of want to actually get some runs submitted. So I'm going to be doing that route for these runs. I have splits now. I just created them, so they might not be correct. It's based on my memory of the route and like which echoes. That's pretty much it. Just echoes and for an ending. So yeah, let's get going. Sure, everything set up. Oh yeah, hopefully my remix settings are correct. Probably important that I get those right. Doesn't really matter how fast you go this part. Because you're waiting for this popcorn plant either way. That was actually pretty fast. I think it's random how long that takes. Make sure to swallow the lantern. Or at least I want to. There's other strategies that involve like swallowing a bubble weed in your last run so that you keep it so you can go through the underwater section in Farmerays. I'm not going to be doing that because I don't really know how to set it up or how it works at all. Also, actually, I don't really need the Karma Flower. If I die, I'm probably just going to restart. At least early on in the run. I think it might be faster to do that. First split is very fast. You're just going to that echo. Now we'll be heading back to Chimney with this extra karma. It can be a bit difficult. Sometimes there's some lizards in the way that you don't like. That's not optimal. Wanted to do an extended slide with that. I don't really like swinging underneath that part. There's kind of like random platforms in the way. A lot of poles. The other path is just more open. Hold up, I'd like to try to change a setting with live split because it always asks, like, do you want to reset your times? That always gets in the way. I don't know if there's an option for that. So that was actually a kind of weird situation where the timer actually got in the way of the game. I couldn't see what I was doing because the screen didn't scroll fast enough, and I just kind of kept going, hoping that I would grab onto something with my tongue. So I'm probably going to just take the top route then, just to be safe if I'm not able to grab something. See, now this is taking a little bit longer. The popcorn plant. It's pretty much the best food source you have in the beginning. If it, here we go. That wasn't optimal eating. Also, ideally, you get pushed a bit by the wind here. Nice slide. Wonder if it's possible to get into that pipe from falling all the way down. Personally, that song only starts playing for a little bit. So you get this up until you like get to this echo. Why was that so much slower? Oh, waiting for the popcorn plant. Did it really take 20 seconds? I bet it doesn't contribute that much to this total time. That's a time save, however. Getting that slide. Hold up. I might have forgotten something. I don't know. We're good. Time lost doing that, but I don't know. Kind of important. Need to check. Okay, if I manage to actually grapple there, that'd be decent. That's actually pretty good if you're able to grapple onto that top platform. That you'd start swinging up faster. Probably try a little harder to actually pick up items that I'm walking past. I want to make better use of throw boosting. Cause I keep like backtracking to pick up something. I don't know if it's worth it to just try to keep moving, or if you actually save that much time doing a throw boost or an extended slide. Also, in my previous runs, I had splits for the gates, because you didn't have to get, or at least for publish percent, you didn't need to get any echoes at all. So the biggest checks of time were the gates. But now, since the goal is to get all the echoes, I'm gonna be timing it based on that. Although I don't think it really matters what the splits are, as long as it keeps track of how long the total time of the run. Doesn't matter what the splits in between are. That's just for keeping track of how well you do in specific segments. I did not mean to grapple in that direction. Hello? I was trying to do the whole time. Hello, welcome to the stream. We are speedrunning. There are decently heavy spoilers, or at least these first few areas. Next thing I want to do is head down to just try to check the time of the cycle. There are no cycle times in the Saint. I don't need food, so I'm going to try to get all the way to the. Kind of interesting. You can do that kind of slingshot thing. I'm going to try to get all the way to the subterranean gates from here, which there's some popcorn plants, and if it's by the end of the cycle. Actually, no, there's gooey ducks too, so it doesn't matter if I get the popcorn plants or not. The goal is to get to the subterranean gates and then head back to actually, I think I get the Farmery's echo first. I just stay at pretty close to the other echo, so I'm probably gonna like swap these two splits, but it doesn't really matter too much. So they're right next to each other. This is probably the worst part of the run. Oh, for now. One of the harder parts early on. Going all the way across Farmers. Because I need to head down to grab a yeek. Maybe that goes a little too fast. There can be a white lizard here, quite often. There can be a caramel lizard, some more scented wings. Like there's nothing for now. I think that's that white lizard. It just went into that room. Appreciate they are a little further out than like in this pipe. Hello? Where'd you go? Okay, I'm gonna have to go further for the yeeks than usual. All the way over here. Yeah, there's also this weird thing going on with yeeks for some reason that didn't happen for a while when I was first using them, but they kind of get stuck in the worm grass way more often. Maybe they got outdated or I don't know, some weird thing happening here, but they get stuck in the worm grass way more often now. Even though they usually were like pretty difficult to get, it's pretty hard for them to get grabbed. See if that'll end up being a problem. Okay, I would like to actually grab onto this. That could be done way faster. I guess there's no reason not to get the subterranean echo first. Trying to get this jump consistently. See, I'm gonna need it when crossing the worm grass. A few jumps that are too short, it's very easy to die. That pipe down there is where you would usually go if you were the rivulet, or if you had a bubble weed. I think it's just if you managed to hold on to a bubble weed throughout a run, it like saves to the next run that you do, so you get to keep a bubble weed. Although I don't know if that means it stays for every single attempt that you do, or if you have to also find a way to get a bubble weed to end every run if you want to do them consistently, or if you would have to do a run to get a bubble weed and then do a speedrun attempt, and then do a bubble weed run, and just flip between those two, but that sounds like a pain. So I'd rather not involve it in any strategies. For now, at least. Unless there's a like more consistent way that's discovered. Or maybe this yeek path is actually faster than the bubbleweed path anyway. Okay, that's gonna be dangerous. I think scavengers are aggressive to yeeks. Oh, and not in this room. But you don't want to be spoiled, that's fair. This whole run will include spoilers for the Saint. Although it's not too bad for now. If you want, you can like stay around and I'll let you know when there's going to be an area with a lot more spoilers. Because for now it's mostly just going to be the same areas as like other campaigns, but there's snow. I don't need that yeek anymore because there's already going to be plenty of them in here. And it doesn't seem like it's late enough in the cycle to get popcorn plants, so I need these fruit, like whatever they are. I guess I might as well just grab this echo so that the splits are consistent. I think I want to switch them around for future runs. I just have to remember that that goes a little further out than I would expect. Now we're going to head back for the farmer's echo. Which involves grabbing another one of these guys to go back through the worm grass. Looks like they're just going up here on their own. Although I hope this one's not aggressive. Scavenger. It is faster to just swing across the top here. It definitely is. But you can't keep going like that forever. Some of these jumps aren't like extra high for some reason. I thought I figured out a way to do it consistently, but I suppose not. Oh, this area can be a bit difficult, depending on how the spiders feel. I guess there's always the option to take the top route and avoid the spiders completely, but it's so much faster to swing. Looks like they just missed completely. Nice. Although they tend to really like these tunnels up here. Yeah. Maybe I can go this bottom route if this isn't blocked off. Stop to go through that top spider. If it gets out of the way, hopefully. But I really liked if there was just a connection between those two bottom tunnels. It's like perfectly in the way. Like it was just a little bit further to the right, I would be able to pass. Oh, there we go. I fell all the way down there. See, that thing happens where they get stretched out really long for some reason. Hello, dear. This is the last area I'm going to need the teak. Hello, dear. Somehow they managed to get in the way, despite all this empty space. I think there could be a larger centipede somewhere around that area, but I didn't see it this time. Really try to get past that hive before it grabs you. Even if you've gone quite far past it, they can still chase after you. Don't even have this game. It's interesting. I would recommend it. It's quite difficult, and it takes a long time to get used to. It breaks a lot of conventions, a lot of video game conventions. So if you are expecting something, it probably won't do that. Just how this game is. So you kind of have to relearn a lot of basic mechanics. But eventually I think it's worth it. It's a very unique experience because of that. Also, this isn't my own route. I'm basically just following the route of another speedrunner that I watched. I think if you just search up like Saints True Ending speedrun, you'll find the video. I pretty much just copied that route exactly. I mean, I used my own routes for a while. That involves like going to outskirts to get to Undergrowth Echo, and then going through Shaded, I believe. I don't really remember it too much. Actually, hold up. I'm just gonna go this way anyway. It doesn't really matter. Both paths lead, because it's kind of the same area. I do need food too. I think the best thing about this route is that it kind of goes through farm rays really easily. Farm rays can be like the most annoying part of the run. You have to get both the echo way down in farm rays as well as the echo right at the entrance to Subterranean. And that can really mess up like any other routes because you always have to get that echo way off the Subterranean, but this lets you get both echoes and then head down right over to the there's a spider there. Right down to the Undergrowth, and then to Shoreline. So this Subterranean kind of acts as the connection to like all other areas that you want to go to. So I'm making use of these cherry bombs because centipedes can't grab you when they're startled by the explosion. It's kind of like it lets you get past pretty easily. Considering that there can be much larger centipedes there. I'm not really a fan of this whole area. I hope there's not more scavengers. Okay, that's good. So I want to stay in this shelter. A new route in farm rays near the Red Pearl. The Red Pearl that you have to take the deer to cross. I've actually heard about that before. About there being something around that Red Pearl. I haven't looked into it yet. But if it involves like using the deer at all, then it's definitely slower. You might be able to cross it with the grapple hook. I don't know. I'd have to look into that later. But I haven't found any good maps of like the reworked areas yet. Because of course there's maps for the new regions completely. All the new regions added to Downpour, but I don't know if there's maps for the slightly like reworked or expanded regions that were already in the game. Probably, because they're gonna have to also include all the unlocks for the other characters too. The spider is always here in the worst spot. I just wish it came into this room and I wouldn't have to deal with it. Okay, it looks like I passed it. Nice slide. Tried to slide on that platform and I just ended up falling down. That was interesting. What I just did there, whatever it was. These areas can be a little bit annoying to... So I've had difficulties with this area before, involving spiders getting in the way. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, because it kind of put a stop to the whole run. I'm gonna have to restart if that happens. Gosh, spider jump scare. There's usually a lot of spiders here, especially that green one. They like to get in the way. Especially in that pipe. I hope it... Also, this song always gets messed up. I think it happened. The spider's now stuck. Honestly, just like... I really hope they'd fix this. It's real annoying. The spider just gets stuck in this room and you can't do anything about it. I'm going to try to restart, and hopefully that doesn't lose me too much time. But yeah, you really just can't do anything about that if that happens to you. And I really hope they change it, just so like the spider either leaves the room or doesn't go into it entirely. Yeah, I need to find a way to enter that pipe the right way. And a spider. Maybe I should do that. Hold on to one of those cherry bombs to throw at that spider. I don't even know if it did anything. Guess you really just have to hope the spider doesn't go in there. I don't, because the only other entrance to the Echo is like on the other side of the region. I mean, it might be faster to go through that instead of just restarting the cycle entirely. But, like, you'd rather like neither of those have to happen. Also, it's kind of hard to tell what the range of this kelp is. Some bits of it are kind of hanging down that don't actually have a hitbox. Or they can't actually grab you. So there's that spider again. Maybe because it's scared away by the light, it kind of runs into that room. It followed me back. I hope that wasn't another spider. We're good. We're good. Like once you enter that, you're safe. Okay, there has to be really annoying blocks. The one block that you can stand on to line that up, like pushes you off at a weird angle for some reason. Maybe because it's like sloped a bit, or if you're sitting all right on the edge. Probably entered that pipe a lot earlier. Yeah, Undergrowth is a really cool region. I mean, I only ever come here to just grab the echo and leave immediately, but it's still interesting. So now I have to go all the way over to Moon. It's kind of a weird sequence of events from this point on, like going to Moon, to the echo next to Moon. Hope he doesn't come down here. Okay, he went the right way. Don't throw a spear. Yeah, it involves like going to Moon to get the echo, and then going up to Pebbles, get the echo, but staying in a shelter so that you stay close to him so you can ascend them. And then head back down to Moon to ascend her, and then head back to Subterranean. So it's like a bunch of a big series of events that you'd kind of rather just avoid entirely, if possible. Also, this kelp, I don't really know what the best way to deal with it is, if you could just like run past it fast enough. That's a large centipede. Oh, wow. I mean, I could have thrown the flashbang there. Yes, the region that I was in previously is called Drainage System. I'd rather not deal with the 3 minute sprint. Now I wonder if there's a decent way to like get up here first. Because I feel like I just kind of went backwards doing that. Oh, thank you. Hey, yeah, come down here. Come up here. Yeah. I could have done a whatever vault thing. You really like that move, huh? That centipede really just had to be in the worst spot. I actually found out a way to like to grapple onto the ground consistently. If you do a backflip and you hold in the direction where you're turned around, you keep holding in the opposite direction during the backflip, and then you press jump right before you hit the ground. There. I actually grappled onto the rock. It usually lines up so that you're able to grapple onto the ground, so you can do one of those high jumps. Oh, wow. I really jumped right into that pipe. Wow, just gonna keep going. Because I was just trying to land on it to roll or something. Probably not really a good reason to grab that karma flower. Ideally, you wouldn't lose it at all or really worry about karma. I guess I'm just kind of used to grabbing them. Still faster than the other attempt where I had to wait for the popcorn. Or no, the first attempt that I did, I got the popcorn plant immediately. And then every other attempt, I had to wait for it. It's funny that you can use those kinds of items for extended slides, even though you don't throw them like normal. That's pretty good movement. Definitely need to grab that rock. There's plenty up here. When Saint lost all their karma on death. Yeah, I'm glad that's not how it works. Saints used to be just the extra hard mode, basically. They couldn't throw spears and they lost all their karma. Because there wasn't any of like the changes to the overworld or story. Well, there kind of was by the end of it, but you know, they couldn't do anything that interesting in those earlier mods. So Saint was just kind of the really difficult mode. But they kind of changed it with Downpour. It's more of a like this kind of end to the story, and it's like it's pretty difficult. I don't know. I think it's counterbalanced by your mobility. Like, you aren't able to defend yourself, and you know creature spawns are quite difficult. So you have to deal with the cold, but yeah, sometimes that's actually better than dealing with the rain because there aren't definitive time limits in like some areas. So it's fun to do that. See if I can actually do this movement. I always face the wrong direction there for some reason. That was better. Oh, I should have changed the splits around. Whatever. Now for the fun split. Try not to do that. Okay, I always struggle with coming out of pipes like that for some reason. Oh, hello, centipedes. Dude, they were perfectly blocking this pipe somehow. I've gotten a lot better at this starting area for every new Saint run that I do and reset. Hope that the white lizard isn't in a bad spot. Yeah, I tried to kind of overcompensated for the mistake last time. Going too fast, and this time I didn't go fast enough. At least before grabbing onto that block. So, is there a white lizard in the way? No, there's a vulture. I very rarely see vultures here. It's been a while. Excuse me. Okay, that just kind of pushed me back through the pipe. I have to take this lantern. Actually, I was supposed to swallow it. Forgot about that. But now I have to because I'm grabbing onto this guy. Excuse me. That could have gone better. At least I didn't have to go searching for one halfway across the room. Hello. Big jumps. I don't really know if there's any faster way to move around with geeks. It doesn't really feel like this moves much faster than just like, jumping normally. I guess it's just practice for what I have to do to cross the worm grass. These jumps go higher than just jumping normally, so it's more consistent. Less likely to get grabbed by the grass. Hello. Yeah, somehow I got up there. Not even trying. Hello? I wonder if you could do like a... Okay, all this new tech doesn't have any like official names yet, or like half official names yet, but hello? Long geek. But if you're grappling onto something and you crouch, your jump, it goes a lot higher. I wonder if that jump is boosted by the yeek too. I mean, I feel like it's mostly like a flat extra like amount of height that you get from the yeeks. Because like the rivulets gets a ton of height from like a backflip because of the way their jumps are multiplied or whatever, however that works. But like doing a backflip as the rivulets with the yeek doesn't actually go that much higher than jumps with yeeks as the other slug cats. I feel like the Spearmaster would go the highest just because they're the lightest instead of like their movement stats. No, don't go that way. Why do you immediately jump into the worm grass? Oh yeah, I should have just brought these to the shelter to eat them automatically. What do I mean new tech? The stuff that the Saints can do, mostly. So they have a few like interesting movement things with their tongue, but they don't have like names, or at least, well, maybe they do, but from the movement doc on all like the base game movements, every single tiny little thing that you can do has a name. Like there's like roll pounces, slide pounces, extended slide, is that an instant hop, or crawl, turn vaults, like all that stuff. Every like weird mechanic has its own name. But when talking about the Saints, I can just say, oh yeah, when you grab something with your tongue and you jump while crouching. Yeah, I guess most of the like interesting movement with the Saints is just like getting momentum from swings and like maintaining it when like going through different environments. So it's mostly just like one mechanic that changes based on the environment instead of like a bunch of different moves that you can do. Oh wow, that went a little higher than I. Thank you. Thanks for that. But there's a few interesting things you can do. Like you can kind of manipulate which direction you grapple onto. If you're holding up, then it kind of locks onto the nearest like platform that it can grab onto. I somehow went back into the pipe while holding down. If you're not holding any movement directions at all, then you grapple towards like diagonally towards the last direction that you're holding. Oh, that hit me or the yeek? I think it hit the yeek. Yeah, it did. Okay, this is not ideal. There's always a ton of spiders over there, and they take a while to move between the rooms. I found out that there's some movement that you can do to like kind of tongue like horizontally or closer to horizontally so that you can grab onto platforms that are like far away from you but not directly above you. And there's also the stuff that you can do so that you grapple onto the ground below you. Also, there's something that you can do where you grapple onto something that's just barely out of range, like at the as far as possible away, so that you can still grab onto it. It kind of like slingshots you back towards your tongue. There's also like a bunch of things you can do with just slingshotting yourself. Like if you're falling and you grapple onto a wall, you can kind of release the tongue right as you're being pulled back up by your tongue to gain a lot of height. Although you probably already had a lot of height if you fell with enough speed anyway. But I feel like that, like, none of that is like specific tech and more like just kind of how the physics works out. Hello, centipedes. That's the largest centipede I really didn't want to deal with, but it seems to be heading up there for some reason. Also, I don't need that. Don't need the geek anymore. Just a few more rooms to go through. Should really like those rocks there. Get past the hive a little bit faster. Didn't even activate. I used that spear 3 times. Third boost. I'm thinking about making a video that kind of just is an overview of all of the movement tech that you can do as the new slugcats. Stuff like the like Ormond's rolling and sliding, like Artificer. Well, actually, Artificer doesn't have too much interesting stuff. Just like explaining how the explosive jump works, like all the stuff that Rivulet can do with their movement. So if there's any interesting movement mechanics that I might not be aware of, I would like to know, but I guess you'd already have to know like what I'm gonna include in that video. Stuff that the Rivulet can do. I know that you can do some interesting stuff with wall pounces because I don't think those are any different than the way wall pounces work for all the characters though. It's just that for Rivulet it's the most dramatic. It's the most noticeable. That's the difference between like the... Because I feel like the Rivulet is just base movements times like 3. There's like nothing that interesting. I don't know. I know that you can store jump boost before slide. Also, I've never gone this way before. I don't know if this is I think this goes where I want to. Yeah, this should drop me off by the entrance of the filtration. Also, oh yeah, the swimming mechanics. This Rivulet swimming works completely differently to the other slugcats. Kinda wish that wasn't the case. I do not like this kelp. I think that route might be faster, and you don't have to deal with centipedes. Hey! Yeah, at least it was a rock, though. I really don't like what's going on down there, though. 14 jump storage? Oh, is that just how it works? Their jump boost is just a lot higher. I have no idea how that works, though. Wait, does that mean that their crawl turn vault is way higher? I mean, that's kind of to be expected, though. Any movement tech that the other slugcats can do, Rivulets can do that, but better. Excuse me. Oh great, there's even more spiders. And I'm being grabbed. That's kind of interesting. It looks like I maintained the jump from the tongue, like added to the boost through that small tunnel. Also, I would really like if these guys moved out of the way. I guess they're scared away by lights, right? I should bring one of these lanterns. Is Plank actually useful at all? Like, in some rooms in Shoreline, you can, like, jump across the whole thing, but it's very hard to control. And in any other situation, you just immediately die because you just slamming yourself into a wall. That was a mistake. Hello? Some areas in this run are very annoying, mostly involving spiders being in the way and having no way to deal with them. That's probably my biggest problem with the Saints not being able to throw stuff or throw spears. In every other situation, it doesn't really matter because you can outmaneuver most creatures, but when you're stuck in a tunnel, there's literally nothing you can do. And most of the time, you don't worry about spiders because they die in one spear hit. So you hit them with a spear, and then you can actually grab onto them to go through the tunnel even faster for some reason. That's good. But Saint cannot do that. And there's also another area in Undergrowth where a spider likes to get stuck, and there's literally nothing you can do about it other than take a detour throughout the entire rest of the region. One room and drainage system, and the one room before looks to the moon. Yeah. Although there is like kind of interesting variation of it where instead of jumping out of the water, you just go into the water with like a much higher boost of speed than normal. I think that's kind of related to the plank. Plank is like when you do that thing, but like at the very surface of the water. Sometimes you can use it to like enter the water with a lot more speed and go deeper than usual. Although River doesn't really worry about or doesn't really need that extra boost. Both centipedes in pretty much the same location they were in last time. Hello, vulture. Please don't get in the way. Well, it's not like it's gonna be able to catch up to me. Maybe unless I mess up every other jump. Yeah, that's usually how it works. I mean, the majority of people who watch live streams don't say anything in the chat. If you have like 100 viewers, you'll need like 10 people to be talking actively for it to like feel pretty active. Even though like 90% of the people aren't even saying anything, it's still, 10 people talking is still enough. So 2 people like chatting out of 8, that's pretty good actually. I mean, I'm not honestly a little surprised that anyone says anything in the chat at all. But I do appreciate it. It's something, it's interesting to be able to, it's nice to be able to talk about it and stuff. Oh, that was the orange, or no, it's just a bunch of bat flies. I thought the white lizard was here. That's the white lizard. That's both of the lizards. So it's annoying when one of these guys is in the way. Hello. Because there's like nothing you can do. until they move out of the way completely. And even then, they react very quickly. That's the lizard. Okay, that wasn't very clean, but I guess it still worked out. I see someone wrote a paragraph, but I can't really read it right now. Centipede is moving. I never went to Chimney Canopy. Did I? Or did I just forget? No, I'm at 3 karma. Or was that because it went down? I don't know. We're restarting anyway. I think I forgot to go to Chimney Canopy. Should probably pay more attention to the splits. There's always a lag spike right there. Just doing a guide on their abilities and strategies. I mean, that's the plan. I mostly want to highlight some of the like lesser known abilities. Because, you know, I discovered a lot of them on my first playthroughs because I already used a bunch of the interesting movements in the base game, but like I've seen people play Gourmand without even utilizing their rolling or slides very often, or really understanding how the stamina works at all. Because the stamina, I mean, stamina is annoying, but you can actually move around quite quickly even if you're low stamina. Like doing rolls and roll pounces repeatedly. It's actually like still pretty much just as fast as when the survivor does it. Even if you're exhausted. And if you just roll without doing any roll pounce, without jumping at all, just roll repeatedly, it's actually very stamina efficient. Same with sliding. The problem is if you do a lot of extra movements. Just sliding repeatedly is still very stamina efficient. I already made a guide on it. Look, that's not actually a guide. That's like one funny thing you can do as Gourmand. I want to actually make into a guide. I mean, it would be kind of funny to make a fake guide for all the slug cats, like some weird thing that you can do with them. I don't know. I want to actually try to make a video that's like decent quality and not just like a bunch of random clips stitched together. Great. Great. Probably would have been just faster to not do that. Yeah, I like the Spearmaster. It's like the simplest out of all of them. They don't have like any interesting movement tech other than like that they're lighter, so they can. So some movement is better for them, like Squid Kata's. And they can create spears, so I guess you can always utilize like throw boosting and stuff, but that doesn't really help you like moving around quickly because it takes too long to create spears. Like the best thing that Spearmaster has is that they can climb walls by just creating a bunch of spears, but that takes forever. It's like the most underwhelming movement tech out of all the new slug cats. Like, wow, this one has a grappling hook, this one can jump really high, and this one can do a double jump. What does the Spearmaster have? They can climb walls very slowly with a bunch of spears. Which pretty much every other slug cat is also able to do, except for Gourmand. Why is Gourmand the hardest? So Gourmand is very interesting. They actually are like pretty slow most of the time. They don't have like this slug cat that I'm playing right now, the Saint. They have this very long tongue they can use as a grappling hook, and that kind of gives them like they're one of the most mobile slug cats in the game because of it. The Gourmand does not have that. They also don't really have any other movement mechanic, but they have kind of a bunch of like weird gimmicks. Gourmand is basically just a collection of a bunch of like weird things that they can do. For example, rolling. Usually all the other slug cats have some limit to how long they can roll for. So usually you just want to roll for a short time and then jump out of it like I just did there. But Gourmand can roll for much longer than the other slug cats, which is sometimes useful. It's pretty stamina efficient. Also, Gourmand is the only slug cat with stamina. Sort of. I mean, there's Starvation and Hunter, I suppose, but just like in their normal state, Gourmand has to deal with stamina, where if they move around too much, if they jump too much, do like pull boosts, throw spears, stuff like that, various actions just deplete their stamina. And if they run out of stamina, they become a lot slower, and they don't throw things as hard. They can't. Their spears become very weak when they're tired out. So their movement is kind of a mix of like. There we go. That's what I've been trying to do. Their movement is like utilizing some of their like strengths, like their long rolls and slides, as well as like their combat abilities, which are pretty like position dependent. If you have like a height advantage over a creature, you can land on them and crush them. Does a lot of damage. But that's only useful if you can actually gain height, which is kind of annoying because you climb poles very slowly. I could just grab that other yeek that came over here. I don't know, I still find Gourmand kind of annoying to play. Maybe I just haven't played them for long enough, but when I was recording the combat guide video, it just took forever. Because I'd pick up a few bombs from Industrial, because that's where I collected a bunch of them. And then I would travel all the way to some location to use them. And then probably passage back. I use a lot of passages. But it took a long time to just go to like pretty much every region in the game. And I find that even if you try to be as stamina efficient as possible, the moment you just do like a few extra jumps, then it only takes a few extra jumps than you would think, and suddenly you're out of stamina and you have to sit there for like 4 seconds. And I felt like that happened quite often, where you're just like sitting around waiting for your stamina to come back. Also, not being able to fast pole climb. I mean, Rivulet isn't able to fast pole climb, but they have like twice the climbing speed as the other Slugcats. So Gourmand is like, not only do they climb poles even slower, but they can't fast pole climb, so that was always annoying. Also, anytime there was like some kind of rough terrain, that's especially a problem in Outer Expanse. But any situation where you need to jump a lot to navigate, it just took forever. Because you pretty much want to spam jumps. Kind of like how you go through the depths. You want to be jumping as much as possible. Except you can't do that as Gourmand, you're going to get tired out. So you either don't use any jumps at all, which means they have to slowly climb up every single block of terrain. You have to climb up it, which is like pretty slow animation. Or you have to roll, which doesn't work most of the time, because if the moment there's some terrain that just goes a little bit too high, you can't roll over that. Also, doing the backflips into rolls can also lose your stamina, although that's not too bad. Also, sometimes their slides are too long. They go too far. Like Gourmand sliding and extended slides are some of like the fastest movements in the game. Except it's so fast that you can't even use it in most situations because you go too far or you slam into a wall. That's something that I like about Survivor and Spearmaster, or like Hunter, you know, the Slugcats with more basic movements. Instead of using your like overpowered movement ability everywhere, you make use of the like base movements of the game. Like as Artificer, I think their movement is less interesting because you pretty much always just use your explosive jump in every situation. Like you don't really use all the like movements of the game because you can just use your explosive jump and it's faster, except maybe like extended slides and stuff. Those probably move faster in some situations, but anywhere you want to gain heights while moving, just do an explosive jump. It's more of a combat tool. I found using the slide for combat really annoying because it doesn't do much damage at all. So if you actually wanted to kill a creature with it, you'd have to slide into them like 20 times. And also for like stunning lizards, I felt that it was kind of inconsistent whether the lizard would flip over or not. Like how when you throw rocks at them, how they like flip over so you can hit them with a spear. So I'd slide into them to stun them, and then I'd try to throw a spear at them, but I'd have to like get onto the other side of them to throw the spear. So the terrain doesn't always allow for that, or if there's other creatures I have to deal with. But sometimes the lizard might flip over, I think. They might flip over and you'll be able to throw a spear at them. That's also, it also depends on... Split. It also depends on like if you have enough space to do a slide. Also, like, pretty much all of their combat abilities, I mean, I think their Spirit Throw is probably the strongest thing they have. Which is also, like, the weakest thing they have, because at the moment you want to deal with multiple creatures, or a creature that doesn't die instantly to a single spear, it becomes a lot more difficult. Because, it doesn't matter if you kill a lizard in a single spear hit. The moment that another lizard shows up, you suddenly are out of stamina, and you need to escape. You need to find some way to regain your stamina before you can even do any amount of damage to them. You're exhausted, so you don't climb poles very fast. You can't like land on them from high up. You can't do like slides or rolls that normally do a lot of damage. I mean, maybe rolls still work. Also, I have no idea how much damage rolls do, so that they might not be effective at all. Trying to snipe me. Or like a vulture, for example, you might hit it with a spear and it'll do a lot of damage, but then they're immediately going to fly away and you just aren't fast enough to hit them again in time. This is the part of the run where I wait for the spiders to move out of the way. I found throwing spears to be the worst thing for movement possible. I mean, the throw boost gives you a lot of speed, right? But it also kind of sends you at a weird trajectory where you, like, even if you are moving up a decent amount, you still, like, fall down pretty quickly. You aren't really able to use it for distance when you're doing jumps. You can't use it for extended slides, and, like, even if you do use it for movements, like, effectively, you are now out of stamina, and you have to sit and wait to keep moving, so it's not, like, even the fastest option you have. So I found, like, never ever throw with spears unless you're in a position where it's very easy to hit a creature. That's the only situation where you should throw spears as Gourmand. Or I guess for platforming. And but even then, like, if you want to use spears to create platforms to climb on, that can be kind of annoying because the extra speed that you get can sometimes, like, mess you up. When you could have normally just, like, thrown the spear to grab onto it, you would be flying, like, past the platform. Oh, great. I like these centipedes. A lot of fun. Hey. Okay, I think they're gonna... Yeah, the echo. How'd they even get here? If they immediately get disabled in this room. Strange. That was about the worst thing that could have happened there. I guess I could have... That's the worm grass or something. But I tried to do an extended slide, but I just went into that pipe with the bomb. Sound like a red centipede just by rolling into it repeatedly. I have not yet found a way to get that to work. Like, if you do a backflip and roll into them, is that enough to stun them? I feel like that would be consistent. I don't know. I'll have to play Gourmand more for the movement video. But I feel like playing Gourmand well just kind of boils down to doing less. Like, the less you do, the better you are, because anything that increases or decreases stamina that isn't necessary, don't do it. So your movement ends up being just a lot simpler, just like walking normally whenever you can, sometimes rolling or sliding if there's a big open stretch of land. And other than that, you don't really want to use, like, any of your movement abilities because they're just kind of slow you down later when you're out of stamina. I'm gonna go this way again. I don't know if it was faster, but it felt like it might be. Oh, and food. I mean, even if you can still move well while you're tired, the moment you run into any creature at all, you're gonna have to recover for a bit, unless you want to try to continue to avoid. Wow, I guess I'll just keep going. I guess I should bring a rock to stun that kelp, but it's much slower to go to the bottom route. I also have not seen anyone at a high level play Gourmand. I have not seen any speedruns. I like if someone wants to speedrun Gourmand. I guess I haven't really been looking for them that much. I'm gonna have to do a gourmand speedrun someday. I do actually like their route, like going up to Pebbles and then going to. I think you have to go to Pebbles at least. But the route of going to Pebbles and then Outer Expanse, I do like that. So I guess if I can get used to the movement, I might do those runs more often, but I don't know, that might take a while. Okay, there's a rock down there. Oh, great. Oh, great. I was thinking, well, I might as well just go that way anyway. And then lizard jump scare. Am I even gonna have enough time to complete a run this stream? Turns out it is actually difficult. I mean, it's a lot of stupid deaths, but that's always how it happens in Rain World. Stupid mistakes add up. I mean, it only takes one mistake in a whole like 20-minute cycle to lose all that progress. I haven't even gotten past undergrowth. Oh yeah, I have to wait for this. How's the runs going? Well, I'm at the start again, so yeah, not great. I feel like that area of like filtration and undergrowth is probably one of the most like RNG dependent parts of the run, because that one tunnel they have to go through to get to filtration system, there might just be like a ton of scavengers and spiders and centipedes in there, or there might not, and you'll just go through just fine. Same with the undergrowth. I've had multiple runs ended because there's just a single spider that's in the one tunnel, and you can't do anything to get past it, so you can't throw spears at it. And even if you did, I feel like the Coelescapede might be a problem because it's usually a green lizard or green spider. I don't know if the Coelescapede would also be disabled by the echo. Oh, split. Wait, chimney canopy. Through underhang? Okay, where do you start as Gourmand, right? And shaded. So it might be faster to go through like memory crypts and exterior to get the 5 pebbles. I mean, I don't think grapple worm movement would be that different, right? You could probably go through. I don't know. I don't usually go through 5 pebbles, so I haven't thought about it, how it would work in like a speedrun. It's pretty much in every other situation, you just go through like chimney canopy to the wall, getting to 5 pebbles that way. Okay, let's see if I can actually remember the route this time. Impossible challenge. Oh, I guess there's just invisible platforms over there. Be faster if you went through industrial. Yeah, that's usually the go from shaded to industrial to chimney, and then it's the same route, pretty much, to get the pebbles. And you'd probably go through Sky Islands and then Farm Rays to Subterranean. And I think I've gone through Outer Expanse enough times to know that like there's a pretty simple route through it. I don't know, that might be interesting, but that depends on just how it feels to Spear and Asgormond. I mean, someone's eventually going to figure out a good way to move while maintaining a good stamina. But whenever I played, it felt like you just want to walk normally. No, like, jumping around or doing, like, throw boots or anything. You just walk normally, and it doesn't drain stamina, so... Or it doesn't drain much stamina, at least. So, that's always a good option. I guess I don't really like Gourmand because any slight mistake in your movement is a 4-second time loss. Just waiting for your stamina to recover. Unless we find like some areas where like even if you're exhausted, like your movement is still like pretty optimal. You see what I just did there? That I tried to just do an extended instant hop, I believe it's what that's called. Where you do an extended slide but immediately jump, so you get like a bunch of extra speed from the slide. Except that time it looked like a slide pounce, right? I wasn't upright when I jumped. Okay. I really need to figure out this room movement. Yeah, some of the like extended slide jumps that I do look like they are slide pounces instead, and I don't know why. It's like 50-50 which kind of jump it will be. Now I actually got all the echoes that I need to get. Oh, if you jump literally 1 frame after, it looks like it's a pounce. But if you wait like 2 frames, it's a regular jump. Maybe my timing used to be like a bit slower, but as I've gotten used to it, I tried to like speed it up a little bit, closer to like the few frames where you get the ideal jump, or the ideal speed. But I've gone too far, and now I'm doing it frame perfectly, but it's actually the slower version. Hello, notification. Thanks for slowing me down. I think that's the ideal kind of jump you want to do. For some reason, one time that I went through here, there was a white lizard right there, and I couldn't do anything to get past it. But now usually the white lizard is like down here. Although I actually don't see it at all. I guess that's what they're trying to do, huh? That's the goal for the white lizard, to not be seen. I don't like that threat music is playing now. Okay, it's fine. How many times have I restarted? 7 times. Or 6 times. This is the 6th or 7th attempt. There's a counter next to the timer in the corner of the screen. Somehow these gear always manage to get in the way. Hello, Vulture. I should be able to outrun it. I don't mess up repeatedly. A decent amount of these restarts have been in the very beginning because I forgot to get the chimney canopy echo. And the rest of them have probably been in Subterranean. It does feel like doing those jumps is faster. Probably just keeps the momentum from the roll pounce. Although I'm not yet completely consistent on that high jump. Okay, yeah, sure. Just like kill the geek. That tiny little centipede. I didn't even know that could happen. Also, I don't think I need the spore puff. Hey dear, hey dear, hey dear. Is it too cold now? Are they not gonna want to help me? To beat the game, well, whatever I'm doing right now isn't exactly working. I'm waiting for these gear now. Does this help me stay warm at all? No, keep moving. Don't. Hold up. I can make use of the wind. Right where the screen is in the worst possible position. Okay, no, that's not gonna work. If I managed to get enough speed there, I could have started grappling along the ceiling, but that was a big time loss either way. I'm going to freeze to death. No, I'm gonna die to the worm grass instead. To beat the game is a much longer and interesting process that I've yet to get like past the halfway mark for this run. I'm trying to collect these echoes, which you've probably seen a few of them already. There's like big floating weird looking things that make the screen look funny. Try to collect a bunch of those, and then I'm trying to go do something on the other side of the world and then go to another part of the world. I guess you'll see if you stick around, but also this is kind of spoilers, so I mean, even if you're not going to play the game yourself, I'd recommend at least watching someone play from the beginning, the earlier campaigns, to get a better idea of what's going on, as well as like a more like chronological look at this game, because this is like the very end, actually, one of the later games look ats. Usually the world is not snowing, it's raining, that's why it's called Rain World. Yeah, I just didn't feel like I had enough space to do an excellent slide. And it was also a little bit too close to the worm grass. But I thought that maybe the wind would push me far enough. But I didn't know when that happens. I have no idea how the wind works. These guys are the echoes. That's what I'm looking for. There's 7 of them. How many echoes are there? I think there's 7. Scattered all across the world, and I need to visit all of them. They increase my karma. The symbol at the bottom left of the screen. I need to increase that to the max level. Although I don't even know if I'm going to complete a run today. Because I do in fact die a lot. It didn't matter for the practice runs where I would just restart or just keep going anyway, even if I died. But I'm now restarting every time to try to get an actual decent time for a speedrun. But if I don't finish a run, that just means I get to stream this more later. I don't need to go up there. Like if I already got the perfect run in this stream, then I wouldn't have to stream it again. Also, it might turn out that some other strategy or route is found for the Saint. That means I'd have to try that again. But I'm probably gonna do speedruns with the other select guys before I do too many runs for the Saint specifically. That was just a mistake. I just didn't jump. Everything is spoilers, man. Everything that's going on right now. Well, they get sort of explained in the game. If you like do an obscure series of events like that involve talking to a guy way up in the sky and then grabbing some random like pearl and then talking to some other person. Probably one thing I don't like about this game, I never collected the pearls myself for lore purposes. I did do a run where I collected all of the colored pearls, but I did not bring them to Moon. So I never saw the lore that way, which I guess is what you're intended to do. But it's a bit ridiculous. Like you have to travel back and forth across the map like 10 times. High up in the sky, yeah. It's a handful of like pretty good videos that explain the lore of this game. guess if you could watch like the ones that were released before Downpour for less spoilers, because like even like the full like lore of this game does not tell you anything. Unless you're already familiar with like the rest of the game, if you like played it yourself. That's one thing this game does really well. The lore is actually very well connected to the gameplay. It explains like the way certain regions are, or like the like different characters that you meet, like the echoes and the iterators. They are explained completely by the lore and the rain, of course. Like, I guess it's because of the lore that we were able to kind of predict what Downpour would be like. Maybe not everyone, but especially the developers of Downpour. They aren't the same developers that created the game originally. They're basically just a bunch of fans of the game, and they created a mod that eventually became an official expansion to the game. And so Downpour is kind of their prediction of what the future would be, and it just ended up becoming canon. Probably just better to not throw boosts there. So like some of the new slugcats are kind of a look at the past before the hunter, which leads you to some like kind of obvious answers like, oh, there's not going to be as much rot in 5 Pebbles, because it hasn't had time to spread, or like filtration system and drainage system are a little bit more active because there's less time for them to like deteriorate. And oh, Moon is going to be active because she hasn't like collapsed yet. And then like, oh, because of the rots, like 5 Pebbles is going to collapse eventually if it just keeps spreading. So like all the new content in Downpour is kind of just like the like logical extension of the lore already in the game. Those are good. The character that I'm playing right now is the Saint, but they are a DLC exclusive slugcat. The Gourmand, Artificer, Rivulet, Spearmaster, and the Saint are all new to Downpour. So recently added like expansions to the game. The Monk, Survivor, and Hunter were already in the game for many years. And they also all share a very similar world and story. So there's pretty much only like one ending that you could get. Well, I guess 2 if you count the Hunter. Oh, did I split early? I don't know why I split for some reason. Did I split when I answered the... No? Well, Monk or Survivor are the slugcats that you're most likely to start playing as. It is technically possible to unlock all the slugcats immediately, but it's definitely not recommended. But I feel like even if you play the slugcats in as you unlock them, I feel like you wouldn't be prepared. That's something I don't really like about Downpour. The new slugcats like ramp up in difficulty really quickly. And so, you know, everyone who's played the game for hundreds of hours and done like score runs as the Hunter and, you know, all getting the pearls and stuff, people have played the game for a long time. And like before the release of Downpour, they're used to the game. And so the the newer slugcats aren't that difficult. If you just got the game and you beat the survivor and then you immediately play the hunter and then you immediately play gourmand and like all the new slugcats, you're probably gonna have a lot less time to get used to the mechanics of the game. Well, you probably, I wouldn't recommend playing hunter last. If you wanted to, I'd say they probably fit like, I don't know, somewhere after gourmand. Gourmand is definitely the next step up in difficulty after the survivor. And people have like mixed feelings about the difficulty of artificer. If you're already used to the combat of the game, it's probably really easy because artificer is very powerful. So, you know, if you're good at combat, artificer just makes it easier. But if you're not good at combat, the amount of combat that you're expected to do as the artificer is probably going to make it a lot more difficult for you. Same with spearmaster. Rivulets is probably one of the... Goodness. Oh, thank you for that. Rivulets is definitely one of the more difficult ones because you have to deal with some very difficult regions, like the rot and submerged superstructure. And hunter, the difficulty of hunter depends on what exactly you're trying to do. If you're trying to deliver the pearl and the neuron and like do all the quests as hunter, it's going to be very difficult, and ascend at the end. If you're just trying to ascend, it's like decently difficult, like kind of in the middle. But honestly, hunter, it doesn't really matter what you do. There isn't, like, even if you just like run out of cycles, I think it's still like worth playing. Can I get any boosted jump? Thank you. Because a lot of people, when they first played hunter, they probably didn't like do any of the objectives at all. They just kind of wandered around until they ran out of cycles. But it probably takes a lot of attempts and a lot of time learning the mechanics of the game until you're good enough to complete all the objectives in a single run. And that would probably be like one of the most difficult things you can do in Rain World. Because like even if the Saint is very difficult, you know, you can always just like keep trying over and over again. But hunter is limited by the number of cycles they have. So I'd probably recommend, you know, you can play hunter earlier than the DLC slugcats, and if you don't like haven't decided on if you want to get the DLC or not, you can probably just keep playing the hunter as like practice to prepare, and to like, you know, if you keep enjoying the game, then you'd probably want to get the DLC. Much more reasonable quest for the hunter is just to get the neuron to moon, even if you can't make it to the depths afterwards, or like get enough karma. Why did I go down here? But I guess none of that makes sense if you aren't already familiar with the game. There's also something kind of interesting about Downpour. You aren't really told what... You aren't really told what to do. I think a lot of people who are already familiar with the game kind of know where to go to. Like, when you play a new slugcat, the obvious things to do are to go to the iterators, right? I don't know what to do. I guess I'm going to go to 5 Pebbles or go to Moon, or, you know, try to ascend or, like, see the echoes, you know? But you might not make that assumption immediately, and you might just kind of wander around the same as you would do as a survivor if you weren't familiar with their campaign. Because honestly, if you just want to beat the game as survivor, easiest thing to do is just go to Pebbles and then go to the depths, but no one's going to do that on their first playthrough. They might wander around and get all the echoes first, or they might go to Pebbles and then like mess around in like Shoreline or something. The survivor can also see leaf lizards at the top of the wall after rain. The rain doesn't affect the top of the wall, but it becomes nighttime instead. It's all dark, like shaded. And I think a few leaf lizards do show up there. I call them leaf lizards. They're cyan lizards. Hello? Thank you. I might spend a bit of time not talking as much, just trying to focus on the game. The more distracted I am, the more likely I am to forget to go to an echo or, you know, go into the wrong rooms. So I think I'd like to be a bit more quiet and just focus on actually completing a run. You see another Norris lizard in here. Get to complete Pebbles %. It's quite difficult considering that you have to navigate across like 2 very long areas without any shelters. And especially like kind of being up against the time limit. For Pebbles %, some of the more difficult areas are going up the wall. The kind of, well, actually, a lot of the areas kind of around Industrial and Chimney where you might run into white lizards, I feel like those are the most difficult. Because whenever you run into a white lizard, you might just have to like wait for it to move out of the way if it's in a bad spot. As for the wall, there's pretty much only one area that's dangerous, or there's 2 areas that's dangerous. One with all the orange lizards, which you can skip really easily with a few spears if you know what to do. You can kind of hug the right wall, just like use spears to climb up, although those jumps can be a little bit difficult. But I definitely recommend learning how to do that. And the white lizard area, which usually my strategy is to bring a bunch of rocks and hit if there's any white lizards in the way, just hit them with a rock to stun them and then run past as fast as possible. Or hopefully you time the cycle correctly and you get there at the very end of the cycle when it starts raining, so the white lizards will start running away. You don't have to worry about them. This game, okay, I might be like making this game look a little bit easier than it is, even though I'm still dying a lot. But this slugcat has one of the most mobile slugcats in the game. Being able to grapple around like this lets you move so much faster than any of the other slugcats are able to, except for maybe Rivulet. And Rivulet has the same thing. You just move so fast that you can just ignore all the creatures in the way. While the Survivor, Spearmaster, you know, those kind of slugcats, you pretty much have to deal with every single creature you run into. And learning and understanding like all the creatures' behaviors and the best way to deal with them, you know, that takes a long time. And even then, it only takes a few small mistakes to lose like 20 minutes of progress. If you're trying to like use shelters as little as possible, but the most difficult thing about this game is that it's just different, you know. Even if you're already familiar with platformer games, the physics is like different than most games because it's like physics based. Well, all games are kind of physics based, but like procedurally animated, I guess. Better way to describe it. Also, it's a very fair game, as in the player doesn't have any advantages over the enemies. Because in most games, you want to make the player feel powerful, right? And you want to kind of make it always balances in favor of the player. But Rain World doesn't do that. Rain World gives every creature pretty much equal abilities. So like lizards kill you in one hit. Like many creatures will just hunt you just like they hunt any other creature. And you weren't particularly strong unless you learn how to use spears well. So you have to kind of go through the process of learning all the different ways that Raid World works that are completely different than most games. But it is for all of those reasons that also makes Raid World such an interesting game. It's like completely unique. But being so unique is kind of it's also a downside, you know? The same reason that it is a good game is also the reason that it's very difficult and kind of unwelcoming to new players. Please don't. Also, the scavengers, that's what they're called. They can really change your experience of the game. They have a reputation system, which means that if you are nice to them, they will be nice to you, and if you're mean to them, they will be mean to you. That's a simplification, but you know, the more ways that you hurt them, the lower your reputation will go. So if you throw stuff at them, if you steal their items, they're going to dislike you and they're going to want to kill you with spears from a distance off screen. But if you give them spears, if you give them pearls and you don't hurt them, you know, you'll increase your reputation, and you know, they might even help you in battle, although usually you don't really want scavengers to be involved. Even if they could help you out, they can also accidentally spear you, so it's usually a good idea to just try to avoid them entirely, even if you have a good reputation. But it is creatures like scavengers that can kind of test your knowledge of the game. You know, if you don't know what they are, if you don't know how to deal with them, you know, you might just hit them with spears or rocks, or just like any other creature, but then they will hit you back with spears and not letting you through holes. But, you know, once you learn how they work, well, they're still annoying most of the time, but they can be less of a problem. I think that Spearmaster's campaign is probably the most difficult. They just have like the least overpowered abilities, and they have to deal with very difficult creature spawns. And their main quest involves holding onto a pearl, which only lets them hold onto one other item. As well as getting food can be a little bit difficult sometimes, since you only get one food pip for every spear throw. If it's one that you've like created recently, you can't drop the spears or reuse them. You won't get food. While like the hunter, for example, can just like kill a creature with like a few spears if you're using them over and over again, and you still get like even more food from that creature in the end. But I found, you know, Saint wasn't that bad. You just have so much mobility. And usually I feel like there's not that bad of like creature spam. Like some areas have a bunch of spiders and centipedes maybe, but I think that's always better than like a bunch of leaf lizards in a room that will all like gang up on you. I guess there's a bunch of orange lizards, but they aren't really good at catching you either. And the Centiwings usually just ignore you. I think the creature spawns in for the Saint are mostly like easier than the other, well, I guess the other downpour slug cats. Pretty much all the new creature spawns are more difficult than like just Survivor. Except for Gourmand. Gourmand is kind of a mix of Survivor and Hunter, so they're not as bad. Usually you don't run into as many like leaf lizards or king vultures, but they do exist. Be real surprised if one of those centipedes managed to grab me while jumping around. What's the story of the Saints? Very, very complicated. There isn't really agreement on how it is either. And also kind of dependent on your knowledge of the game story already. Got killed twice trying to give scavengers pearls. Classic. I need to remind myself to actually like concentrate on the game. This is a pretty good run so far. I would actually like to complete one. Although that involves going through all of Rubicon. Which I did get a decent amount of practice in. The last stream I did, but it's still very easy to die. I think I really need to hold on to a rock here. Pick it up. That's actually something I noticed with when I was using jellyfish a whole lot. If you're holding onto a food item, a little bit of delay on picking up other items, because I think it checks for like a fraction of a second if you continue to hold down the grab key to eat the food. And it's only after that short delay where you're allowed to pick up an item if you release the hold key. While it's usually instantaneous in any other situation. If you're not holding on to. I don't want to get a little bit more speed here. Guess that's a good way to do that. You don't have a rock. But I would have just thrown it just in case. This is my favorite area. Oh, thank you. Wait, actually, if that spider's dead, that's huge. It is. Thank you, scavenger. Know what I can do now. Why are you in the way? Don't go up here. Get that scavenger. How can you trade with them? Scavengers will take spears or pearls that you give them. And if they like the item, they will... Throw the other way. Okay. I could not throw that spider the right way. But I've actually made progress towards taming this lizard, so it will protect me, hopefully. Probably not. Oh, that's a red spider. But it would have been a lot easier if I just that mole lizard wasn't there, or if that scavenger wasn't in the way. I would have been able to make it here a lot faster. So we're all hoping here that there isn't a single spider in the way of that one tunnel. I really hope they change this. So I've gotten stuck there multiple times. There's nothing you can do about it. I also need to remember that one red spider that's always in the way. Oh, this doesn't... So there usually likes to be a spider right here in the exit of this pipe. There it is. It's always in the same exact spot. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but you would think it would wander around a little bit more often. But I call spitter spiders red spiders. Yeah. And mole lizards, I guess you call them black lizards, right? But like all the lizards are black except for like the glowing color of their mask. In which case they would be called white lizards. I don't know, mole lizards I think is more descriptive of them. And cyan lizard is just kind of weird to say. This is my least favorite area of this run. Or it has become my least favorite. After losing runs here multiple times. Oh, the spider moved out of the way. Am I safe? I'm free. I can just keep going. Oh, that was good. Usually I get stuck there for a while. Hello. More spoil, like everything in this, everything for the Saint is a spoiler. Hello, Centipede. Yeah, drainage system is one of those areas that's becomes a lot easier, or a lot better once you get familiar with it, especially with swimming mechanics. Drainage is probably my favorite area in the game, or one of my favorite areas in the game actually, because it's a massive shortcut to subterranean from outskirts, and you don't have to go through farmways. That's the main reason. I pretty much always preferred taking the drainage route, and you end up right in filtration. I mean, mostly because of the Pebbles percent route, but I still prefer it over farmways in other categories. But I dislike drainage system for the sake of new players. Because it's, I would have taken that other fruit if it didn't fall down. But I don't like that people often get stuck in drainage system. It's kind of a trap for new players, like unless you're already familiar with swimming mechanics. And even if you do make it to like filtration system, like that's not useful. Like you can't do anything down there, and you're kind of hard to get out. Don't kill me. That's something I feel weird about for all of Rain World, actually. Because there's sort of an intended route. So like, there's a route through the game that's like significantly easier. But it also, saying that there's one way to go through the game, it kind of goes against the openness of the world. Like, new players should be able to explore wherever they want to, but also sometimes that means that they get stuck in areas where they shouldn't have gone, despite the fact that they could have gone anywhere. I don't know, it's strange, and I don't really know if there's a good solution to it. That's what the karma system is supposed to do. Like, oh, this gate is higher karma. New players are not gonna go there accidentally, but you know, a lot of them end up doing that anyway because the karma system doesn't exactly make sense. At first glance. Okay, nice lag spike. Typical subterranean moment. I'm actually going to take one of these instead. Actually, I wasn't even looking. And Duskville is actually a pretty big region if you include all of the rooms that don't lead anywhere. So there's like multiple loops that you can take. Multiple routes that you can take through the region, but usually once you get familiar with it, you just don't go that way. And then it feels like a small region because the connection from outskirts to either Pipe Yard or not Shoreline. Or Chimney Canopy, it's like only a handful of rooms that you have to go through, so it does end up feeling like a pretty small region. Anyway, the next area that I'm going to, first time I made it here. It is one of the most dangerous parts of the run because of snails. So, hope there aren't any bad snails. Seems like there's pretty consistently a jetfish right here. I do have enough food. But I don't like taking jetfish past this point because they like to mess with the snails. Also, I see like 3 of them. That's not a good sign. These snails down here, well, I call them snails. I'm not exactly sure what they are. Some people call them other things, but they kind of do this pop. They like to pop, and oh dear, maybe you'll see it. And that pop is usually just a stun. It stuns you for short moments, then you can keep going like normal. The Saint, however, is a little baby, and they like to die to everything. So if they get popped by a snail, they get stunned for a very long time, and it becomes very easy to just drown. I'm gonna try to... Is this jetfish just going in a loop? What is happening? No, there's multiple of them. Maybe. I think if I go through with the jetfish, it's just gonna activate the snails. So that's what happens every other time I try. Oh, they're like creating a wall. I don't think I'll be able to get past, unless maybe I don't like this hold. We're good, we're good. That I could have died very easily there. There's also snails in this room. There can be. Oh, there's one. Okay, that's like the worst part of the run over. I probably played it a little too safe, but I don't know, I made it through. Shoreline at its finest. I mean, snails can still sometimes be a little bit dangerous. They can stun you for long enough so that you run out of breath before you can swim through the whole thing. There's a big jellyfish in this room. Oh yeah, it's also around this point where there's even heavier spoilers. Keep that in mind, I guess. I guess it seems like a lot of people don't really care about spoilers. They just see an interesting game and they're like, yeah, I'm just gonna watch this. Railroad's kind of interesting because I feel like for some people they probably have a better experience just watching someone else play the game instead of play it for themselves. If they are like annoyed by the mechanics and they can't learn them, and like before they get like frustrated at the game and just quit. Although I think some people can get through that slump of not knowing what to do and being kind of lost. Because I think most people eventually come to enjoy this game if they don't give up. This is that one room you can do the big jump in. See if there's a Leviathan here. Yeah, that can be really annoying. If you're trying to get into a pipe underwater, the movement is a little bit weird because you don't move evenly. Hello? There we go. So like small, precise movements can be difficult sometimes. Something you have to get used to. Also, those jellyfish down there, it's very easy to die to them. If they zap you, you'll just drown immediately. Keep that in mind. Just for the Saints, though. Most of the slugheads don't care. It's in situations like that where I wish you were able to cancel the grapple hook without jumping. If you don't want the extra height. My first playthrough of Rainworld was after already watching a lot of the game, probably Alphabread. A lot of his streams of Rainworld, maybe some other videos. I don't really remember that much, but I played Rainworld with like heavy use of maps. Whenever I got lost in an area, I would immediately just look at the map to figure out where to go. And in some regions, I literally just looked at the map to find the like fastest way to get through it, and I would follow that route exactly. It's in fact, it's only until recently where I started to play games while avoiding spoilers. Like, it's probably like Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Second Ori game is like the first game that I played while trying to actively avoid spoilers for it. And that came out pretty recently, to give you an idea. So I did not experience... In fact, I think I saw like some video that like included the ending of Rainworld, the whole like Void Sea sequence. Except I had so little knowledge about the game that I didn't even know what was happening. So I didn't really understand, I didn't really experience the ending until like much later, even though I had already seen it. But so if you're like playing Rainworld for the first time and you don't like being lost in games, then, you know, it's fine. You can use a map. If it helps you enjoy the experience as a whole, then it's probably a good thing to use the maps. But, you know, I'd still recommend like to avoid using them if possible. Like, it is only until like you were starting to like actively like dislike the like being lost and wandering around without knowing where to go. Like only until that point is where you should think about using a map. I spent 2 months still not on console. I barely play any console games. Like I've played a handful of games on the Switch, if that even counts. Like nothing else. So I can't relate really. And most of the games that are like console exclusive, I'm not usually interested in them anyway. But I guess it is unfortunate for people who are kind of waiting for Downpour this whole time, only for it to be released on a platform that they don't have it on. Whoops. Also, I got a question for you all, or like the 2 people who are actually familiar with this game. Do you know which shelter I should stay in? Because there's 2 shelters that I know of that are actually quite far away from Pebbles. Because the goal is to stay in a shelter such that I can get the echo and then return like fairly close to Pebbles. Hello, excuse me. Okay, that was a little bit close. I'm not exactly sure which shelter is optimal for that. There's one shelter that's like pretty close to the echo, and there's one shelter that's like further to the... Actually, there's a shelter like right here in this room. There's another shelter that's quite far to the left. I don't know which one's better. Or if there's another echo that or another shelter that I'm not aware of at all. You don't know? You haven't seen much of the map? Yeah, this region is one of the most confusing. Yeah, I think I'll just go to the one closer to the echo. Or this shelter, although this one feels like kind of far away from everything. Actually, I'm going to go in here because you can save and exit after... I don't have any food. I didn't think about that. That was my notification for my own stream. Thank you for that. Just in time. That's wonderful. I'm not going to restart. I've already made it this far. I'll just remember to get food next time to stay in that shelter. That sucks. I think I walked right past all the molds that I could have eaten. The slime mold. I think that... oh, that's a wonderful thing to see. Actually kind of surprised the jellyfish survived that, because they actually don't have that much health. I think at this point I'm just gonna try to complete the run Because if I restart again, I'm not going to have enough time to complete the full run by the end of the stream. So this will be the last run, and I'll try to make it to the end, even if I die a few times. The spider is probably like one of the worst creature placements. They're always right in these like small tunnels that are hard to, or it's hard to avoid it. I can never find a rock to throw at it. Oh, well, here's two. 2 rocks. I actually get stunned for quite a long time. Yes, I'm gonna go to the iterators because I believe it is required for the story completion. At least on speedrun.com. It said for the story mode ending, you must go to both iterators. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up a little bit on the chat. I'm really happy when people say they like Artificer, because I really don't. I'm glad some people can enjoy that campaign. I mean, I didn't even play their campaign on stream the first time. There's probably going to be categories for true ending Saint runs and like normal speedruns. It's just now like only one of them is listed because they don't want to have too many categories to start off with. Of course, you don't actually need to go to the iterators to count as hello, to beat the game, beat Saint's campaign. Oh, that's just wonderful. I would recommend it. If you have yet to complete the Saints campaign, you should go to the iterators, pay them a visit after getting max karma. Although if you haven't completed Saints campaign already, I don't know why you're watching this. Unless you don't care about spoilers, I suppose. I just don't really like Artificer because of their karma. Are they okay? If I play like casual runs of Artificer in the future, I'm probably just gonna get a bunch of echoes to start off with. But even then, like, having low karma is kind of a good thing, right? Because it means you can die as many times as... Like, it doesn't matter how much you die, you can still go through karma gates, right? But the way their karma works and the karma gates work, as the Artificer, I just really find annoying. I don't like having to carry something around to go through gates. Because usually the process ends up being like, I have to go find a scavenger and kill them, and hopefully not die. This usually involves a lot of bombs. And then drag that scavenger all the way to the karma gates, and then go grab like the other items that I was holding on to, maybe like a vulture mask or a... Well, I usually don't really want to hold on to that much, but if I was holding on to any other items that I want to bring with me, then I have to go all the way back, grab those items, and then go through the gates with the scavenger and those items. And I liked how as like the survivor, as the other slug cats, you can go through multiple regions in a single cycle. I like doing that. And having to find a scavenger every single time you want to go through a karma gate kind of gets in the way of that as the artificer. I guess I don't really mind scavenger combat otherwise. A huge part of your playthrough is spent in Metropolis. I guess that's also kind of a thing I don't like about it. Like their campaign is very straightforward. You go from your starting location to Pebbles to Metropolis, and that's the whole campaign. And the boss there is like kind of RNG. I don't know. I beat the Scav King on my first try, but I've seen other people take like 20 or more attempts. I feel like that's kind of annoying. If I were to attempt that fight again, I probably wouldn't beat it on my first try. And especially if I was doing speedruns, like that would just be annoying. Like, oh, you might just get sniped across the map by a spear that you like couldn't see or you couldn't react to. Ascend? Yeah. Yeah, spoilers. Well, you'll see in a second, alright? Oh, that's just a wonderful place for a spider. Is that ascending? Yes, technically. I am moving upwards. Hello, 5 pebbles. I think that still counts. That's what I did with Moon last time, and they still appeared in Rubicon. Will I count wrist speed or I don't know. Now we are heading back down to Moon. The rest of the run is going to be backtracking through areas I've already gone through. That's what backtracking means. What happened? I ascended them. I can also fly now. So, I can ascend in 2 different ways. By the way, this area that I'm in right now, this room is still connected to that guy that I just ascended. they are technically the same entity. Kind of hard to explain, but it's basically just one big supercomputer. That guy was just the puppet that allows for communication with the rest of the machine. Although, I don't know how functional that communication is anymore. Probably not. Actually, hold on. I think I do need food. I do want food. I should be able to find more on the way to Moon. So the condition of this whole structure is not the greatest right now. Hello, spider. Please let go of me. Thank you. Stop. I'm just trying to breathe, man. Oh yeah, why am I not doing this? Actually, swimming. Well, I do want to conserve a little bit of it for this area. I'm gonna hold on to some of this just in case the Leviathan shows up. It does have deeper meaning, technically. Yes. I could have just eaten this. Jellyfish. It's kind of moments like this that I don't really like. Like, I wish there were more items in Downpour. There's no reason for a big jellyfish to drop slime mold. I feel like these are unrelated things. Yeah, it is the item that is dropped by jellyfish, by the big jellyfish when they die. Can you stop doing that? Me. Like, I feel like those other like chunks of jellyfish are what you should be able to eat, or maybe there's just a different color of them that are edible instead of just slime mold. Like, even if it was just slime mold but recolored, which is pretty much what the other chunks of jellyfish already are. You can kill stuff with the spear. Fortunately, the Saints cannot. Also, I don't really have a reason to hold on to these. I don't know why I grabbed them. Hello, Moon. Whoops. I missed. Actually, I probably should have stayed in a shelter so that I could have saved an exit and just teleported back there. So I'll keep that in mind for the future. It's better to stay in that shelter kind of past where all the water is. Also, I think the gravity sound is still playing, even though it's constantly on normal gravity. I think that's kind of a bug. Or maybe it's like the system trying to work, but it's not. I don't know. think I can make it across this room without freezing. This next room after this. Challenge 70 flashbacks. I try not to think about that. Hello, Leviathan. I'm going to stay in this shelter because there's a decent chance of dying to snails and literally everything else. I should probably add splits for sending the iterators because it's quite a long time between getting the last echo and getting to Rubicon. But I shouldn't need to stay in a shelter after this point. Oh yeah, do this. I always forget. Because for some reason you swim a lot faster when you're doing that. Aquapede? Over there. Thank you. Here's where the snail zone is. I don't see any. Okay, we're good. I think we're good for a bit. You can fly. You didn't see that earlier. Yes, I can fly now. It also lets me swim faster. I see those snails down there. Little monsters. Not really, they're just chilling. The Reveal challenge. Yeah, that one's kind of rough. Yeah, the most difficult challenges are definitely the last Saint challenge can be a bit difficult. Well, like normal challenge, not challenge 70, but the last normal Saint challenge can be a bit rough. Struggling with that one, I would recommend using or focusing exclusively on red lizards and I'm holding onto rocks. Red lizards and Mirror birds. Those are your targets. The challenge before challenge 70, the one with monk, where you have to like get a bunch of points. I feel like that's mostly just a test of patience. Since you need to get a lot of kills over like a pretty long period of time. As the monk, it takes quite a long time. I said that 3 times already. It also takes quite a long time to learn the layout of the map. It's like the biggest arena. There's usually a horrible creature right here. Well, not those horrible creatures. Can you move? This is wonderful. Okay, at least the centipede moved out of the way. I kind of messed up. And now there's more. Okay, we're gonna be waiting here for a while. As long as that centipede doesn't come back, I think I'm fine. Because I think that centipede can kill me if it wants to. Oh, now they're all coming through. And somehow the mirror sphere didn't even notice. I'm pretty sure that, like, they have really good sight, but other than that, they don't really have any other sense. A dropwing. That's wonderful. I kind of wanted to stay in that shelter. I mean, ideally, I would just make it all the way to Rubicon. I don't know why I went up here. That's unfortunate. I think I don't hear threat music that often. These speedruns. Excuse me? Did I hear that correctly? Okay, I guess there can be mirror vultures in here. That's fun. It's fun to know. Yeah, mirror vulture. Everyone's favorite creature. That was a little bit close. I mean, this already kind of isn't a great run. I would rather not die after a decently long cycle. Okay, we're back here. Hopefully there aren't as many Mirror's birds. I mean, I probably had plenty of opportunities to sneak past that one, but it was totally camping the exit. Like, there was always just at least one Mirror's bird standing right there where I had to go. But of course, it doesn't help that later I ended up just running straight into one. Nice slide. And I don't even have enough food to stay in this shelter, so I just have to make it all the way back again. Could have grabbed that spear if I wanted. And had crazy reaction time. This is a situation where it's very easy to die. I meant the centipede. It's very, very easy for the centipede to die there. It's like one of those times I'm gonna get grabbed by that kelp without holding a rock. Probably shouldn't be in their line of sight. How's the day going? Well, the speedruns are alright, I guess. I don't know. This is the first attempt that is actually made it this far. I had 9 other attempts that didn't go great. I didn't make it past the drainage system until this run, where I've made multiple mistakes, but I don't want to restart at this point. Spin. I have to make it all the way to Rubicon, or else I'll have to go back to Shoreline. So hopefully it's okay. This centipede, I really don't like it. Not a fan. I don't have anything else to throw at it. Actually, I don't know why I just didn't do this the first time. Oh, and now it moves out of the way. Got it. I'm gonna do this just in case the red spider shows up again. Okay, this whole area is gonna be a bit risky, depending on where that spider went. Oh, I see it there. This is the part of the run where it stops feeling like a speed run, so I have to be very careful. So there usually are some mole lizards down here. Also, I totally just dropped the lantern. I would not recommend dropping your lantern in the one area where it's useful. I don't think there's anything else here. Hello. Might be a mole right here. The hardest part's probably going to be this area right here. Right after this room. A lot of fun. I do have a route in mind. I think I'm gonna take the right route through Rubicon. I think the left route might be faster, but I actually thought that the right route was a lot more consistent because there's a bunch of red lizards in one room that could be annoying to deal with. You actually don't really have to deal with, well, you have to deal with mirror birds all the time, so that's not great, but I was very lost in this place too. I took a route that was about 3 times longer than it should have been. kind of don't like that this area has branching paths. I think it's unnecessary. As the final area, you just end up getting lost and spending too much time in one place. Hey. Okay, I don't know if you can die from that. I am going to use the shelter somewhere. Where did I decide to go here? I know I kind of tried to root this out last time, but... Okay, that was a little close. Luckily, it did take them a while to figure out where to go. Something's going on down there. Can I go up here? Oh. Oh yeah, I remember where to go now. I mean, I think I do. I didn't like that this area had a bunch of red losers in it, but they were down there instead. Definitely don't die to this room. It's like the easiest one. Oh, centipede. Well, I don't know if I've ever seen that before. It's funny how Kelp are just easily able to kill some of the most dangerous creatures in the game. I'm definitely going to shelter here before I die to Mira's vultures 10 times. Went to the start of the area 2 times. Yeah, and also you don't exactly know which direction to go. Like I got a passage. Wow, survivor. Like you're supposed to go up, but if you go up too far, you kind of take this extra unnecessary route. And you go up and you go back and forth a few times, so it isn't clear like as like one single direction that you have to go in. Nice slide. One time there was a Mira's vulture right there, right above the exit to the pipe. I don't know why. Don't know how it got in there. This room can be fun, as in kind of horrible, because that red lizard right there. Luckily it didn't move closer before it started spitting. Oh, hello. This is probably one of my least favorite rooms. Actually, every room with Mira's vultures is my least favorite room. That's just how it is in Rubicon. Any room where they might just fall from the sky onto your face and kill you instantly. Thought that didn't happen anymore. Thought they fixed that. Pretty much the same Effectively the same as the Mirror's Vulture showing up. Comes out of nowhere, kills you instantly. You have to restart. So just pretend that was a Mirror's Vulture. That's great. Sometimes I think that maybe I only enjoyed speedrunning Pebbles percents because it's the shortest, one of the shorter categories. I looked at all the other categories and it's like, oh, these are like more than an hour long. Like, I got most of the categories as the hunter or like 100% or pilgrimage, you know, all that stuff. I'm like, ah, those are too long. I like Pebbles percent. It's like a good length. Turns out that every single new select cat also has a very long speed run. Okay, I hope that wouldn't have like blocked my way if I didn't go fast enough. You can go in here. I have no idea. How did I survive that? Well, now I'm stuck. So that pipe kind of just drops me off in the lava. I feel like Mirror's Vultures are way better at getting into tight spaces than vultures. Really not good at that kind of movement yet. Yeah, Jelly Co-op is kind of buggy and like expedition mode. I had problems with that. I had problems like that for a while, but that's something that usually happens. Or that usually happened before downpour, where the game would just randomly freeze, and you just wouldn't be able to do anything about it. I think that's the first time that's happened to me since downpour, though. Of course, at the perfect time. I really wanted that to happen. Which way do I want to go here? Like this way? Yeah. Speedrun category where you just killed the hunter longlegs. Those are snails. Snails are very. That was a snail in the pipe. That could have been dangerous. I mean, I don't think I would have died, but it would have been a very long stun. I always forget to go down. Live up there. Oh, okay. Taking a break. What happens when you get stunned by a snail? Alright, I guess I'm not doing that. Am I still stunned? I think I'm still injured from that snail. It's kind of stopping me for a moment there. I hope it's not possible to die when you're coming out of that pipe. Like, I feel like I almost touched it there. I'm going to wait for a moment here. I don't know if I have enough light. I'm good here for a while. Yeah. Could have been better. Optimal movement. Oh, they don't have enough meter left. Just barely. Oh, I don't like that. Can't exactly see what's happening. I was gonna say, this is the last room. That was the last room that's dangerous, but nope. Leap lizard. Did like they get scared by the DLL and they run into this room. Hello? Still in here? Better not be up here. Got messed up by the screen effect. Alright, so I don't think I can lose at this point. Although there's one thing I'm not exactly sure about. When I should stop the timer. Should I end the timer when I get to the Void Sea or the like ending credits? All that down 70 movements paid off. You remember this part of Rubicon? You gotta go back then. This is the ending. Hey guys, see ya. If you haven't been here, then you should go back and finish the game. Unless you just don't remember it, because you don't remember it. Or are you the one who can't play the game because console? I don't remember. Because you haven't even played it. Yeah, I really like the music here. The Cycle is the song called The Cycle? I don't know, it's one of the like kind of hidden tracks. It's not on the OST. It might be on the jukebox if you unlock it through Expedition Mode. The song Pulse plays at the very, very end. Okay, it's the second to last song for the Saints. After in like the white screen. The Cycle, yes, that's what this song is called. It's also just pictures of the past, but reversed, I believe. I'm glad that Saint has a lot of unique music. Because, you know, unless there's a new region that's unique to a new slug cat, like Metropolis or Outer Expanse, you know, those are gonna have new music, but the Saints doesn't really have any new regions. But they still have new music. Yeah, I appreciate it. It gives the Saints campaign like a completely different feel, even though you're pretty much going through the same areas. Yeah, well, I guess this is a completely unique region, but there's just one like ambient soundtrack that plays here. It's like barely even music, and there's not threat music. That's something I kind of don't like about Rubicon too. It's a very long area that sounds pretty much the same the whole way through. There's no like music or threat music or like any variance in the ambience. Also, isn't it kind of weird that the void worms like sound effects start playing further up? Pulse, yeah, Pulse is the song that plays after this. Hello. Sorry if this area is very loud. Something wrong with your neck? Yeah, what's up with that? I got far. What is this? I don't know. I don't know what this is actually. Also, I'm pretty sure at this point your inputs don't really matter. Like, you don't really need to go in any direction to end. So maybe I should have stopped the timer like once you start the ascension. You know what? I'm gonna swim down. You know, everyone keeps swimming up. I'm gonna go back down. I also kind of want to test if the direction you go matters. So the song that should start playing right now, that this song is Pulse. Yes. Can you ascend yourself? Uh, yeah. Go, well, not this slug cat. This slug cat can't. Finally got around to playing Expedition mode. It's fun. Yeah. It's pretty cool. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do any more Expedition streams. I think I've covered most of what there is to do. I mean, unless I might want to try like a really high point expedition with like a lot of like all the burdens, like with like highest difficulty challenges. I don't know about that though. Uh, hello. The game just died. That what? Are we good? Am I in the bottom corner? And also, I'm out of breath. Yeah, this is definitely supposed to happen. This didn't happen for you. Yeah, this didn't happen to me either. Is it just broken? I can't do anything. It's just like this static for some reason. Yeah, it's like extra broken. I'm gonna end the timer. I think it's over now. That's what happens to you when you beat Spearmaster. Seems like some kind of problem with the endings. It might have to do with like the background, because Spearmaster has a similar background to the Saints when you end. By drowning, I guess. Also, I think it changes when I alt tab out. Yeah, that's weird. Um, Ascended the actual game. Yeah, game is super dead. All right. Hold on, I'm gonna open the game back up just so there's a background. I've not seen that before. Anyway, that run was oh, wait, hold up, someone in the chat, yeah. Someone else is doing a high point expedition, like the highest points possible. A bunch of hunting challenges as the Saint with all the burdens. I'm definitely not going to do that. Okay, I hope that saved. It did save, okay. So an hour, 22 minutes. What was the other run that I saw? The Saint. Hour, 11 minutes. So like 10 minutes slower than that. But this was with a bunch of deaths. There's tons of opportunities for improvements. Also, I'm pretty sure that their game didn't freeze randomly. Am I uploading that run? I don't know. I might. It also is like kind of horrible. A lot of mistakes and a lot of like game breaking stuff for some reason around the end. Is that it? Yes, that is it. Yeah, I'm gonna be ending the stream soon. I'm probably not going to be doing any more Saint speedruns on stream, at least for a while. If I can get mods to work, I think I'm gonna try out some of those. There's a handful of new characters. There's a randomizer that I wanted to try, but I haven't get to any mods to work other than that the first custom map that I tried. Even that didn't work completely for some reason. Yes, there should have been a last like ending little cutscene, but it did not work. It completely imploded. I don't know why. Game just felt like falling apart. But I am going to stream some speedruns on the other slug cats though. like Gourmand, all this music. Just all the other select cuts. I'm gonna try at least a decent speedrun attempt for all of them, all of like the interesting categories. So yeah. Yeah, if you want to see the ending, you just gotta play the game for yourself. That's how it is. All right, thanks y'all. I keep saying that. Thanks everyone for watching and talking to the chat. Appreciate it. See ya.